United. No, we're not on the United stand. This is the Mark Goldbridge channel. So hello and welcome to the Mark Goldbridge channel. Early morning, feeling a bit tired, but Arsene Wenger has effectively confirmed Manchester United's interest in Alexis Sanchez. I don't spend a lot of time watching Arsene Wenger press conferences, but being off work this morning, I had time to watch it, and I found it very interesting because Arsenal, I remember a time, especially under Arsene Wenger, when they were huge rivals of Manchester United, and this was an opportunity for Arsene Wenger to kill it dead with fire and say, when asked the direct question, is there any truth in the matter that, morning Carrot fan, that Manchester United are interested in Alexis Sanchez, and also not just that, but mentioning the Mkhitaryan rumour as well. I agree with Carrot Fan not getting your hopes up on this, but the reality is, we are dealing with the media, rumours, journalists, and this is the first reaction we've had from a manager. We've got Jose Mourinho at 5:30, and I think he is. I think in relation to Mourinho, we'll come back to that in a minute. But I think Mourinho will kill this dead. It doesn't suit Manchester United to be linked to Sanchez unless we are in for him. So what Mourinho says at 5:30 about it, and he may just go down the lines of Wenger and sort of not deny it, that would be very encouraging. If we're not in for him or we've got no chance of getting him, I would expect Jose Mourinho to say at 5:30 today, we're not in for Alexis Sanchez. Because if we know we're not going to get him, or we know he's going to City, or we know we're not in for him, it serves no positive purpose for Manchester United to elongate this rumour and get the hopes up of United fans. And I'm not saying my hopes are up. I'm a bit like Matthew. I'm like, I don't expect this to happen. If it did happen, like I said last night, it would be as big as Cantona and Cole. It would be massive. But I don't expect it to happen as much as I'd be ecstatic if it did. So from a club point of view, from a media message point of view, if we're not in for him, it needs to come out today, and I think it will do from Mourinho. But what did Wenger say? That's the most important thing. He's done his press conference, and I found it really weird. Like I said, I catch the odd Arsenal game, but I don't really spend any time listening to Arsene Wenger anymore. Years ago I did. There was a big rival with Manchester United. I remember when we got Van Persie, they were trying not to make that happen. And I found it weird to sit and listen to the fact that, look, they're very resigned. There's no defiance that Sanchez could leave this month. When they were asked that direct question about the link with Manchester United and Mkhitaryan, he could have said, there's nothing in that. We're not interested in Mkhitaryan. There's no swap deal, or we won't sell him to Manchester United. None of that. None of that at all. It was very much that I don't want to give you false information. The situation at the moment is uncertain, and that is quite surprising when the fact is that Manchester United, Sanchez to Manchester United would cause a lot of fans at Arsenal an issue. My theory is that they're playing a game. Arsenal here. They know that he's going to go. They also know, and he was asked about this, the drop-off in form from... Van Persie, whoever just said that, I think it's Daniel. Van Persie did snub Man City for Manchester United, you're right. But the drop-off in form in Alexis Sanchez this year has been remarkable, and I would put that down to the fact that he's unsettled. He was very close to going Manchester City in August, so that's probably why he's going to go to Manchester City. It doesn't serve Arsenal any purpose to keep hold of Sanchez for 4 months and he goes for nothing. If his form continues to be the form that he's shown in this season so far. So I think that from an Arsenal perspective, it's not just about a business point of view. It's about, look, this player's going anyway. He's not playing to his potential. If we get rid of him now, we can go and get Malcolm or something like that. If we get rid of him now and we start a bidding war, instead of getting £20 million, we could get 40 million. Because what people don't realise is, well, you probably do realise it, is that Arsenal are in a strong position if Manchester United and Manchester City want him and other players wanted him. If it was just Man City and Arsenal knew he was going for free in May, Man City could do what they're reported to be doing, and that is playing a bit of hardball, i.e. we're not paying any more than £20 million for him because in May, 4 months, we get him for free. So we're effectively paying £5 million a month to Arsenal. If Manchester United come in and say, we'll give you 30, then Man City have got a decision to make because it's £10 million more than they want to pay. It's a player they want, and also they won't want to lose out to Manchester United. So there could even be a little game between Wenger and Mourinho here just to get more money out of Pep. I don't know. But I reserve judgment as like many Manchester United fans at the moment, and just let's see what's going to happen with it. Did a video on the United stand this morning. If you've not seen it, Football Daily. The inevitable Sanchez snubs Manchester United, which, I think we are fully expecting. I think Arsenal not saying we're not involved probably doesn't help us in that respect. Wenger could have done us a favour if we're not involved and said we're not involved, but why would he do that? Because he's trying to get a bigger fee. It's an interesting situation for sure. Remember, you are on the Mark Goldbridge channel here, so make sure you do subscribe. You'll get more of these sort of things on this channel, more laid back, free talking, and so it's a Mark Goldbridge channel, and this is where the Robbie Rambles are going to be coming back as well. So make sure you subscribe, get involved. 4-7 odds on Man City is not that much of a cert. So somebody there. Look, the reality is he wanted to go to Manchester City in the end of August. Manchester United may well be interested, but he would have to be... Look, if Man City know that Sanchez wants to come to them and he doesn't want to go to United, then it doesn't matter what bidding war Arsenal start. Sanchez will just say, I don't want to go. I'll go in the summer to Man City for free and no one can stop me. If Sanchez wants to come to United or City, then that becomes interesting. Manchester United in their transfer negotiations should be like what Manchester United are as a football club, the best in the world. You don't go making bids for players unless you've had an indication from the player that they want to come. It's a bit like Lukaku in the summer. Lukaku was going to Chelsea, that's where he wanted to go. United was struggling with the Morata deal. They make contracts with Mini Raiola, his agent, and they say, look, would he fancy coming to us? Before we start even thinking about bidding for Everton, would he want to come to us? And obviously Lukaku was interested in that deal, and it happened. That could have happened with United again. We did take Lukaku off Chelsea because we were getting bored of the Real Madrid messing around with Morata, and ultimately that's probably worked quite well for us. And it may well be. I mean, there is this talk that Alexis Sanchez's agent has started following us on Twitter. Look, Ousmane Dembele's liked tweets relating to Manchester United. We've had all this stuff before, so I wouldn't necessarily read too much into that. But I would expect, if we are in for Sanchez, that we have at least made contact with the agent or with players' representatives and said, look, hypothetical situation, would you be interested in a move to Manchester United? If he says no, you don't then go bidding. That's stupid. If he says yes, then obviously that's the situation. It's a nice one to end the week with. It's an exciting one to end the week with, but it's also a difficult one for Manchester United. I do need sleep in Monster 7. I had a rubbish week. Sebo's not given as much sleep and that, and it's busy, not just in relation to the United stand. So, but it's nice just to have a little coffee and a little relaxed chat, and that's what I want to do more on the Mark Goldbridge channel. The United stand is obviously the pinnacle, the professionalism and everything like that everyone puts into it is great, and I love that. But I do sometimes think back to the origins of it, and the rawness, and they just pick up a phone and go live and interact. So I'm looking forward to do it. Is 29 too old? No, it isn't, because Alexis Sanchez is, and I will say this, the reality is I'm still only 20% that he'll come to United. No, I'm 80% that he's going to go to Man City, and no percent that he's going to stay at Arsenal. So, look, Alexis Sanchez is still one of the best players in the Premier League, if not the best, with Aguero and De Bruyne and Pogba and potentially Martial. He's one of the best in Europe for that reason as well. He is 29, but the fee you're paying for him, we did the same with Van Persie, and it's a similar sort of thing. I would still take Lozano, Harry Phelan. And Amish, the story is I've just literally just had Sky Sports on, and I was just watching Arsene Wenger's press conference. So it's not press. This is not some journalist's opinion or rumor. This is straight from Wenger's mouth. He was asked about Alexis Sanchez and the Manchester United rumor, and also they added in about Mkhitaryan. He didn't deny any of it. He just said, at this moment in time, I'm not going to give you false information. The future's uncertain. Read into that what you will. I think the most interesting part of the Sanchez scenario is going to be Jose Mourinho's press conference at 5:30, and what he says, if anything. If it was Sir Alex Ferguson, If it was Van Gaal, I would. You see, you got me shorty now. I would expect them to say nothing. We don't comment on transfers. But Mourinho is a different animal, and he does give he does give us through the press some information, which is interesting. He can play in the Champions League. Luca Alexis Sanchez can play in the Champions League. But as I said, it doesn't serve Mourinho or Manchester United any use if we're not in for Sanchez, or we know we're not getting Sanchez, to then say this afternoon, we'll see what happens. If we know we're not getting him, or we know he's going to City, or we know we're not in for him anyway, I would expect Mourinho to say, this is total nonsense. We're not looking to get rid of Mkhitaryan for Sanchez. It's just paper talk. And that, for me, is what I'm leaning towards happening at 5:30. And it could be that we were in for him, but he's just not interested in us, or it might be that we were never in for him. But I expect Mourinho to make a comment about it. Imagine if Mourinho says, I don't want to make a comment on that at this moment in time. Imagine what will happen then. I mean, again, some United fans think that we might be playing a positive spin on this to show fans that we were in for Sanchez. But the quote's just gone up there from Wenger. It's on my telly. Normally, there's nothing been decided concrete one way or the other. But yeah, some people think that maybe Manchester United could be using this as a positive to show fans that they are trying to sign big players. But I don't agree with that, because I think the positive, and maybe we have seen that with United before with Gareth Bale. You know, a little rumour comes out about Gareth Bale and it makes United fans feel positive, and it makes us feel that, you know, the club are trying to make big signings, and maybe we're not trying to make big signings at all. It's just, let's feed a positive story. I agree, Lucas, sign Sanchez, then Arsenal Fan TV and chill. It would be immense. I think we'd have to try and get Robbie on, or DT for that, wouldn't we? That would be an interesting show, but I don't expect that to happen, by the way. It's to sign Sanchez. I'm sure we could get Robbie on. It wouldn't be a positive, I don't think, for United to just leak it out that we're interested in Alexis Sanchez and then him go to City. That would destroy the positive. I'd rather we weren't in for him if he's going to City, because I don't want the whole United snubbed for City by Sanchez and all that. It wouldn't be a good thing. So I think an interesting day ahead in relation to Mourinho and what he's going to say. Wenger could have destroyed it. I mean, he even said normally he would stay until the end of the season, but we'll see. I think he's gone. I think, you know, if Wenger knew he was staying, he would have killed that dead. I don't think he will. Forethought says money talks and we're offering more money. I'm sure Arsenal would, you know, ultimately Arsenal will want to sell to the biggest bidder. But also, let's not forget, Arsenal want to get in the top four, and we're their biggest rival for that. Man City are not a rival for that. Mkhitaryan as part of the deal would be great. John Gnarly, you're really boring, and you know, actually, I'm sure I can. I'm sure I've done it before. Yeah. Just hide your comments on this channel from now on. Mark Goldbridge and DT in one room. I've heard a few people say that. I'd be happy to do that. We have been in the same room before. We've just not done a video, so I'd be happy to do that. Sure, my hair's receding. Not a good sign. Anyway, Lucas Moura. I called him the Brazilian Theo Walcott. That wasn't me. That was Tim Vickery, who's a BBC correspondent out in South America. And he said at Sao Paulo they got rid of him because he's just nothing more than a Brazilian Theo Walcott. Look, I've got a massive concerns about Lucas Moura. I don't actually think we're in for him anyway. But I had the same feeling about Matic in the summer, and we ended up signing him. So if that's an omen, we'll probably sign Lucas Moura soon. Again, I mean, Manchester United as a football club and Mourinho do have a very interesting couple of weeks ahead of them, because two things that they potentially do really want to do is, one, sign Lucas Moura, and two, get Fellaini to sign a new 3-year contract. When you've got people like Liverpool spending £75 million on Van Dijk and City potentially stealing Sanchez from Arsenal a few months early, and then we give Fellaini a new contract and sign Lucas Moura, I think that's going to cause more negativity than positivity. So how the club handle that's going to be really interesting. And, if we do sign Lucas Moura, I hope he's a really good signing. I think a loan signing is the way forward because there's too many risks and question marks about him. He could be a total flop. He could be a success, but I think there's a 50-50 chance. So, and also I think the signing's very underwhelming at a time when we need to be closing a big gap ahead of us. So the club will have an interesting reaction to that at a time when other clubs are doing major business. The Fellaini contract, if that's signed, there's a lot of people who don't mind Fellaini. I mean, I personally would love us to get rid of him, and it's nothing personal. I think he to be honest, I've always felt that Fellaini's a bit of a Jonah, and that's not his fault. And for people who don't know who a Jonah is, it's like when you're on a boat in the olden days, and the Jonah was the person who was sort of, you chuck him overboard to get rid of bad luck, really. And I think it's not necessarily Fellaini's fault, but he was the first signing of Moyes. Obviously, the Moyes era was the end of the success for United, and we've never really got it back. He's that first significant signing. He was the sort of signing that we don't relate to our success. He's not quick. He's not good on the ball. He's a long ball player, which is not what United are. So I think Fellaini represents a lot of negativity that we've had over the last 4 years, and that's not necessarily. It's not his fault. He's probably living the dream playing for Manchester United, but for me, he's just not the sort of player I want at Manchester United. I'd love him to go. If he was signed on a 3-year contract, I think it would just send that wrong message of this is what we are, and I don't like that. Malcolm looks like he's heavily linked to Manchester United, to Arsenal. I mean, nobody's really spoken about that angle. What if Manchester United get Sanchez and don't bother with Malcolm? That's the agreement. You can have Malcolm if you let us have Sanchez. Nobody's spoken about that, and we are linked to Malcolm, and I think Malcolm would be a better signing than Moura. But what if it is like, if you give us Alexis Sanchez, we'll give you a free run at Sanchez. Malcolm. I saw a comment there. This is my channel, so I can say what I like. Comment about the True Geordie. I don't know who said that. So Luke. A little bit of drama at the end. Luke Kelly says, why has True Geordie got a problem? Tell me what his problem is, and I can give you an example. Not getting enough in his, I don't know, sex. What's his problem? I don't know. If you tell us what the problem is, we can all address it, I suppose. I don't think there's a problem with the title of this video. No. True Geordie is so bitter against Manchester United. Yeah. Well, for a Geordie, he keeps bad-mouthing the United stand on live stream. I don't know what that's all about. I don't know. I've got no idea. I've never spoken to the bloke. The only disagreement I had with him was about 3 years ago, where he blocked us on Twitter and we were very small. And he basically said, and for a Geordie, I find it absolutely ridiculous. He said that Michael Carrick was average. Which I give a lot of the press a lot of stick for, that, if you don't understand what Michael Carrick brought to Manchester United, you don't understand what Manchester United, what football's all about. So it's, DT said we're the best Manchester United channel. Well, there you go. Take it all with a pinch of salt, don't you? True Geordie slags us off. DT says we're good. At the end of the day, we're a Manchester United fan channel, aren't we? It's not massively important what people who aren't Manchester United fans say about us. But I don't know the bloke in answer to that. I've never spoken to him. I don't judge people till I've spoken to them. And if I've disagreed with his comments about Michael Carrick and he's taken umbrance with that, he's got a big show where he has guests on it. And I guarantee he'd never have me on it for no reason other than I'd go up to him and say to him, what's your problem? And it would get sorted out. It's not in a way, not like that. Not in the fighting way. Just I don't know the bloke. Would I ever take Memphis back? I'd prefer Lucas Moura over Memphis. I really would. Why not live from the United Stand, Marks, says Vignesh? Because we did transfer daily at 7 a.m. and it's not that significant. And also, I can't be asked to set it all up, and I can just pick my phone up and do it. I'd rather have Zaha back over Memphis, says Nita. Yeah, I'd agree. Manchester United versus Stoke prediction. Well, I'll do that on the United Stand at some point. Sanchez for Fellaini, says Kieran McCavish. Well, we were. It's not going to happen, but I'm sure I remember Fellaini being linked to Arsenal at some point. What's this? Lucas says, I hope this channel doesn't get any subscribers so I can keep getting my comments read out. Well, that is the good thing about a new channel. Career mode will come back. It's not going to come back in the next couple of weeks because of obviously the transfer stuff. Benny, I don't comment, Benny, on other Manchester United fan channels because ultimately that is something that was a couple of years ago and very petty, and we all support the same club, so I'm not interested in that. To be honest with you, I'm not really interested in getting in Samsung 8 is the phone I'm using. I'm not interested in any argument with any fan channel. I think it's really petty, and we did fall into that trap before, but we haven't for a long time. I don't watch any other people, so if the True Geordie's slagging us off, I mean, what's all that about? Maybe it's because we do a watch along and he does his show and he doesn't like the fact that we get viewers, but we're a Manchester United fan channel. He's not. The door's always open. The door's always open for discussion. They just don't like opening that door because they know what will happen. And it's petty. But ultimately, any issue they've got with us is based on lies and myths and rumour. It's ridiculous. And as somebody said about the DT Goldbridge thing, I'm sure we can sort that out at some point. I'm sure everybody would like to see that, and I'm sure we can sort it out. On the other hand, people would probably like to see Goldbridge and the True Geordie. I would do it. He wouldn't. I don't know what his problem is at all. But there you go. Would I do a show with... I'd do a show with anybody. As I said, I'm not going to shout out anything to do with United fan channels because we don't go down that road at all. I would do anything with anyone. That's not right. I would do any show with anybody, and I will not abuse or be abusive about anybody because I've never, ever done that. Others do it. Tells you about their own securities, doesn't it? But no, I'd happily do anything, Benny, so don't worry. So and I've always said that. Would I do a show, Liverpool versus United, Goldbridge versus Carragher? Oh, I'd bury Carragher. Carragher's just abusive. Carragher just... Phil Neville was having a bit of a laugh with him the other day, and he comes back with, yeah, you're not allowed in Carrington because you effed up United with Moyes. I mean, that's just... All Carragher is a caricature of being controversial to get relevant, because actually he burst on the scene as a half-decent pundit, and Gary Neville has consistently been better than him. So Carragher's just a scouse Robbie Savage now. It's just controversy. His ability and I thought he was quite good when he first came on. Apart from the fact that I needed subtitles, he was quite good. But he's just become abusive, and everyone goes, "Oh, that's really funny." But abusive people tend to have not a lot behind being abusive, because if you're abusive, you get the headlines for being abusive, but actually it's just covering up the fact that you don't really have a lot else to say. So I'd happily have a conversation with Carragher, and if he tried to be abusive, I'd put him in his box. The Dubai trip, says Yash Daggy. What do I think about that? What I think about the Dubai trip is that ultimately it's probably been a good thing for morale, but I do sort of think, while we're getting all these pictures on the United Twitter about United training in Dubai, and we're all meant to be like, oh, yeah, and even I fell into that trap, I did sort of think, actually, they're in Dubai because they embarrassingly got knocked out by Bristol City. So, yeah, it's good that we've had the break, and it was nice to see the pictures, but on the other side of it, it's another reminder of where United are at the moment, not quite where they should be. You're right about Rob Carragher. I'll tell you what, I'd love to do a show with Carragher, and I'd love for him to call me a Forest fan because I'm from Nottingham, because I actually have read his book, and he was an Everton fan until he signed for Liverpool as a kid, and that's the only reason he started supporting Liverpool. And in his book, he said, I stopped supporting Everton and started supporting Liverpool because the facilities at Liverpool were better and Everton's weren't, despite all his family and that, and being brought up as an Everton fan. I mean, God, what a wally. But yes, thanks everyone for all the likes on the video. Thanks for all the positivity. Remember to subscribe to the channel if you're new, because we will do more and more of this. And as I've said before, look, I ain't got a problem with anybody. It's always it's not disappointing. It is what it is. I don't watch what other people say, so I only react to what you lot tell me. But the door's always open, and hopefully over this year we'll be able to do more and more of that. You've seen some of the stuff that Flex has been doing with other outlets, and I think that will continue through the year. And if people have a problem, instead of moaning about it, United Stand's not going anywhere. So let's sort it out. Or if you've got a problem, I'll just go on a video with them. I'm not bothered. Thanks everyone for watching. We will be back at 8 o'clock tonight with the United Stand as per usual. This is the Mark Goldbridge channel, so do subscribe. It's going to be a bit haphazard. I don't know. There's not going to be any sort of routine to it at the moment until I start doing the ramble with Robbie, and then I will set that down at certain times. So do subscribe and make sure you get your notifications on by clicking the bell, because it will just sometimes be 9 o'clock on a Friday. I'll go live if I've got half an hour or something like that. I'll just go live and interact because I enjoy it. It's nice. It's more relaxed. So thanks everyone who's watched today. Thanks to everyone who's not watching live. And if you're not watching live, make sure you click the bell so you do get the live notifications. I know some people will be at work and they won't be able to do it. So it will be sporadic. There will be times on a weekend where I'll do it, or later on at night. But thanks everyone. Enjoyed it. 5:30, Mourinho's press conference. I think that's going to be very interesting to see what he says about Sanchez. So I'll be down the pub watching it on my phone, I think. But I'll be live on the United Stand at 8 o'clock. Thanks for watching, and speak to you all soon. I wasn't doing some sort of rap. Thanks, everyone. It's just been holding my phone with that hand, and it's gone a bit numb. See you all soon.